Ms. Mallory, thank you for being here today. I want to discuss, as I have a number of times before this committee, the effect of a 20-year-long drought in the western United States. While a drought of this magnitude is unprecedented, I know that if we act quickly enough, we can advance some solutions which can guarantee water security in Arizona and the rest of the West. That's why I worked really hard to ensure that the bipartisan infrastructure law included $8 billion for Western water infrastructure. And I'm glad to see that the Bureau of Reclamation is already dispersing some of this funding, with projects in the Yuma area receiving funding just this week to upgrade canals and some pipelines. We're also seeing innovative solutions throughout the West, like water reuse and plans for some desalinization facilities, which can help boost our scarce water supplies. But time's critical here. In a years-long NEPA approval process for a pipeline carrying desalinated water or delayed updates to a dam's flood control manual can have some real consequences to our water security. So, Ms. Mallory, can you share how the regulatory actions undertaken by the Council on Environmental Quality in recent months will help ensure that projects which conserve or bolster scarce water reserves in the western United States are able to move through the environmental review and permitting process quickly and efficiently?
Yes, Senator, thank you very much for that question. As I've been saying with NEPA, the goal of the very targeted changes that we made to NEPA last month is to make sure that we are looking at the important suite of impacts that really are going to affect a project. So, for example, on any project that has to do with water in an area where drought is so profound, we're going to want to make sure that that analysis is actually fully considering not only the direct impacts of what is being built, but also like what are going to be the repercussions of that. And so what we're doing in the rule itself was to just make sure that we get that on the table. The work that we've done in the permitting action plan and other mechanisms that the government has used are designed to help move things in the expeditious way that you're talking about, that are designed to bring the senior leadership to the table to help resolve some of the sticking points that may come up on your projects. I don't know your specific projects that you were referencing, but like the idea is that we know that there are times at which we have to have everybody engaged and involved in coming to the solutions that are necessary to resolve those projects. And those are the things that we think will help resolve your concerns.
So, hypothetical desal plant somewhere in the western United States requires a hypothetical pipeline to ship the water some distance. Could you give me an estimate for how long that NEPA process that you would hope that would take?
Yeah. So I can't give you a specific an estimate on that. I mean, I think the goal is that we are striving to make the projects go as quickly as possible given those circumstances. Your project is obviously going to be very different than a narrow project that doesn't transgress over large areas of land and that have impacts on a number of species along the ways. Those are going to be a slightly different projects than a more narrow one. But I think the goal is to, at the beginning of the project, to identify what we think is necessary in order to complete the project, to give an estimate on what we think the timeline is going to be. That is what we're committing to in the permitting action plan, that we're going to lay out a schedule, and then to work with the parties who are involved in it to try to make sure that we can meet that expeditiously. That is our plan.
The one federal decision rule, I believe it targets less than 2 years to get something through permitting. Would you expect this process to take less than 2 years on new infrastructure in Arizona that would help solve our water issues?
Yeah, I mean, I guess what I would say is it depends, right? It really depends on the circumstances, whether there's other information that's available that doesn't require you to redo analysis, like there's existing analysis that can be used. The circumstances will really affect it. Our goal is to try to identify a schedule that will allow you to move as quickly as possible. And that might be 2 years. That might be under 2 years. I mean, that is the goal. And then to try to use the accountability and oversight mechanisms to keep people on track.
Well, thank you.